Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's version of PI Pop In, stands for Personal Injury Pop In. This week, we're going to be talking about the steps of a personal injury case. Before we get going into our content today, I want to introduce myself to you and also Attorney Hall, who is our managing attorney over our personal injury department, just so you guys know who we are, just in case this is your first time. My name is Attorney Joi Fairell. I'm the managing partner of Fairell Roy Associates, where we have two practice areas that we specialize in. That's personal injury and family law. Today, we're here discussing the personal injury side of the practice. That's your auto accident cases and your slip and fall cases. Our family law practice is divorce, child support, custody modifications, etc. And you can catch me every Monday at 2 p.m. going live with the family law content. So for today, if you have questions about personal injury, just make sure you drop them in the comments and we will circle back and answer those questions for you. Or if you have something you want to hear us talk about, you can drop that in the comment as well. But without further ado, let me let her introduce herself.
Let her introduce her.
You don't need no introduction. Attorney Kimberly Hall, go ahead and let them know who you are, and then we'll get into our content.
Hi, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what time of the day you are watching. I am Attorney Kimberly Hall. I am the managing attorney here at Fairell Roy Associates over at the personal injury department. And I have been practicing now for over a decade, doing multiple divisions, I guess, of personal injury, have been doing it a long time. I enjoy what I do. I love talking to my clients and taking care of them. So let's get into it.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about steps of a personal injury case. Now, for those who are familiar with our firm, we like to over communicate because communication is key as far as client satisfaction and managing expectations. So it's very important that we teach you what you should expect in your personal injury case. Because I know a lot of times you're hearing those radio ads that are saying, get in an accident today, we can have your money tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. And so today we're going to talk about the steps of your case, what you should be expecting, what your attorney should be doing, or if you already one of our clients, you probably don't need to watch this, but you can, because you already know, but you can go ahead and watch it and learn some things today. So first up on what to expect is property damages. So Attorney Hall, go ahead and let them know about this.
Yes, so property damage. So we are referring to your vehicle that you were driving at the time of an auto accident. The property damage also applies to anything that was in the car as well. So your cell phone, eyeglasses, car seats, things of that nature, work computer, because things do get damaged in a car accident. So that is the first part of your accident if your car, for most people, because it's not drivable after an accident. So it's really just dealing with the property damage. And so, there are always two courses of action that can be taken with the property damage. And the first one is you can use your own insurance to get the property damage handled. I already see y'all rolling your eyes. I was like, it's not my fault. I'm not doing it. However, the upside to using your insurance is that it moves much faster. And that's because you pay them a premium. They want to look out for you. They want to make sure you have what you need moving forward. So that is the first route that you can take. You can wait, though, for the defendants or the person that hits you insurance. So the reason why that can just take a longer time is because, one, a lot of times people do not exchange insurance information at the scene anymore. The officer says, hey, it's just going to be on the police report, which, let me just say, it can be very dangerous, because if the police officer messes anything up with the insurance, a policy number is wrong, one digit off, name misspelled, any of that, it can cause a problem in trying to locate the proper insurance. So I just do encourage you, before the police show up, to go ahead and get the insurance information of the other driver. And as Attorney Fairell said on another one of our videos, just asking them to go ahead and open up the claim so you can have the claim number, which I think is an excellent idea. But if none of that has happened and we have to wait to get the actual police report, then you have to get the police report. The claim has to be open. If it hasn't been open, they have to get information on their record. They have to talk to their insured. And if their insured isn't answering the phone or isn't talking to them or they're missing them or whatever the case may be, all of that is a delay. So just because an accident happens, you don't automatically just get into a rental car. So there are a lot of moving parts to the property damage aspect. But in any case, that is the first part of property damage.
And to be completely honest and transparent, it's the property damage, honestly, that initially has people reaching out like
Right,
instantly because they're upset. My
right,
car is not drivable. I need to get to work. Somebody needs to get me a rental car as soon as possible, XYZ. Because a lot of times, depending on the nature of the accident, the feeling of injury may not come for 2 or 3 days. And
right,
so the initial reaction is just a property damage concern. And for us, personal injury firm, it's we don't just represent you on a property damage case. We don't do that. So
right,
there has to be an injury involved. And honestly, with the property damage, our policies will help you walk through that to a certain degree. But our focus is on your healing from the injury. The property damage essentially takes care of itself in one way or the other. Either your policy or the at fault policy is kicking in. So we know that's your first concern. So that's why it's up first on our list. But really, what we're concerned with is your physical well-being and the injury that comes from the accident. So the next thing you're going to get in our process, and pretty much any process, is treatment.
right.
Okay, there we go.
So treatment. So yes, that is the highest threshold important thing of your case. And that is because, as Attorney Fairell already stated, it's personal injury. It is injury to the person, right? Is what we represent. And so a part of that representation is making sure that your medical issues, injuries, setbacks, any of that pain, all of that is documented. And
Mm.
so the thing that we work very hard to do is that when you come to us, if you're not already in treatment, and treatment just means if under the care of a medical provider, that if you're not already doing that when you come to us, then we work very hard to make sure that you are able to see a doctor, whether or not you have health insurance. Okay. So I do know that sometimes people, they don't know what to do because they don't have health insurance, but we ensure that you can get medical treatment even if you do not have health insurance.
Absolutely. And honestly, guys, for us, like it is imperative that that treatment starts relatively soon, right after that accident. A lot of times people will call us and say, hey, I got an accident back in November. And, I've been in pain. And, at this point, I think I want to pursue something. That's too late for us to really be able to help you. We call that a gap in treatment. And so if you're in an accident, it's best to just err on the side of caution. Like we're telling you with experience as attorneys and experience from having been in accidents, the pain is going to come. It may not be right away, but it will be there. But when you wait and try to deal with it on your own because, hey, maybe I don't have insurance, maybe I do have insurance, but I don't want to pay the copays or I don't want the dings on my insurance. So you try to, self heal, with ice
Right.
and information and Google, you're diminishing your case from the onset. So it's just always a safe bet to get us involved at the forefront. And if you don't have the insurance, we work with a number of providers who are willing to treat you and get paid on the back end of your case. And so once you're into treatment and once you've completed your treatment plan by your provider, we go into a process called the demand. And that's what we
Right.
demand an amount of money on your case.
Right. So, yes, and that is exactly what the demand means, right? We are demanding money for your case, and that includes all of your medical records and all of your medical bills, which is why that treatment is so important. So, during the demand stage, that is where your favorite attorney, which is me, comes into play. And that is because I sit and I read all your medical records, I read all of your medical bills. I look at everything. I see what the doctor was saying. I see all the treatment that you received. And based on all of that information, along with we look at jury verdicts and, some other things, how the courts are ruling, what verdicts have come out of trials and things of that nature. We read case law and databases, all the kind of things. So with all of that compiled, then we send the demand off to the insurance company. And so with the demand going to the insurance company, depending on whether we had to use your insurance or the other person, then it is typically a 30 to a 60-day, let me just say, wait in terms of the insurance company responding. So after we get that response,
So really quick before we hop to the next one, sometimes the policy amount may be $100,000 or $50,000, or on those trucker policies, even $1 million, right? It is not necessarily, you're not necessarily going to see us demand the policy amount every time if your injuries don't amount to it. I know sometimes people are like, oh, well, why didn't we ask for the 400,000? Like, we're the experts at this. When we say we're looking at jury verdicts and demand, we're looking at your injury, like your type of impact, the county that it was in, and what's the value for something like this. You know, how do we get the doctors paid? How do we get you paid for your pain and suffering? And so even though it's $100,000 policy, it may be worth a $30,000 settlement. So we just ask that you trust our expertise in that, because if we go out the gate asking for 100,000, we didn't even try to be reasonable. Now we're just, we're gonna ask for 100 and they're gonna offer one, you know, so we try to like come to terms here. But when the insurance companies know that we've done our research and that we've made fair and reasonable demands based on factual information, we're more likely to reach a settlement.
Right. So when we get to a part of the settlement, and so just to Attorney Fairell's point, between that demand and settlement, there's the negotiation piece, right? And so that's the part I'm talking to the insurance company, I'm talking to you, I'm letting you know where we are, what it looks like, you know, whether or not I think we're going to be able to settle your case. I'm getting your perspective and your viewpoint, because it's important that I haven't missed anything, you know, on your case, that we've discussed everything, that all the information has been presented to the adjuster that's reviewing your claim. So after we get to negotiations and you, the client, after my advice, have decided, hey, I want to settle, then that's the next step, right? We wait for the documents and the checks, and we get all that stuff worked out. We get your medical bills reduced, and then we get the final payment to you. But in the event that we are not able to settle your case, which I am very proud to say that probably 95% or 98% of our cases do settle for very, you know, strong amounts, very good amounts. We do have that small percentage where we just cannot come to an agreement with the insurance company, and that leads to us having to go into litigation. And what that means is now your case is now filed in a court of the county of where the defendant resides. And so we start the litigation process and moving your case forward through the court process to bring resolution to your case. A lot of times cases also do get resolved in that litigation phase before they actually go to trial. But if we have to go to trial, that litigation phase is the preparation for that as well. So again, you know, as Attorney Fairell said, you know, we are the experts in this, and we always guide you on what you should do. It is ultimately your decision about what you want to do, but we do give you the best advice. And because sometimes, you know, in all honesty, there are cases where, you know, they may say, I'll just use 20, for instance. So, hey, you know, we'll give you 20,000, and I may be saying, hey, I think this case is valued at 23,000, right? But do you take that to trial? You know, do you go and fight for $3,000 more that you may or may not even get? And then now you are losing money in the process, right? Because litigation, it costs money to do. So, you know, there are a lot of things that go into the final decisions on your case, but know that we don't enter into that lightly. We have full conversations about your case, about your bills. We're very transparent. We don't hide anything from you. You are 100% privy to all of the information that goes back and forth on your case.
Right. And we do try to, you know, keep it honest, you know, in that scenario of a $20,000, $23,000, 20 and 23, that's not significant enough for us to take it to trial. And it is ultimately your decision, but also as counsel, we're taking the risk because we're putting this up in front of a jury. The jury could give you $0.
Right.
They could give you 30,000 or 50, but the risk is there, and it's also an assessment that we take as counsel. And then you're going to pay more in attorney's fees for having it go to trial. And so we do the math and say your best case scenario, even if the jury awarded you $10,000 at 30,000, well, you ended up paying your attorneys X more thousand to go to court. You had litigation fees because we had to do depositions and discovery and all of that stuff. You end up walking away with $12,000 because of the cost of the litigation. And so we really have to look at the numbers very closely and see that, the numbers aren't necessarily what they seem. And we have to really decide, like, is this a risk that we want to take and that you should take? Or should we go ahead and say, you know what, $3,000 difference, we'll take that and be able to take more money home. So that's the process. That's the steps that your case will go through. Depending on the injury, for some people, treatment is 4 weeks, and for some people, it's 12 weeks or 16 weeks. It varies. That determines the length of your case. So your case could be done in 3 months. It could take 9 months. It could take a year.
Right.
On average, I would say maybe 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, that's typically the average, because most people on average are treating somewhere in that 4 to 8 week block.
Yeah.
Then you have to get medical records, you have to send the demand, the insurance company gets so many days to review, you go into negotiation, you got to get the check, all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, on average, it takes about 6 months.
Yeah, it's a process. So as always, if you are in an accident or you know someone who has been in an accident, make sure you call us or refer them to us. Our phone number is 678-973-2803. It is free to consult with us on the personal injury cases. You can also go to our website, fairellroy.com. We have a ton of articles on our blog about personal injury as well as family law. So you can go there, and all of these videos that we've done are on our social media pages, and it's also on our YouTube page if you look that up. So you can always go back for reference. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next week.